Hello everyone, my name is SiC. Welcome back to Factorio Space Age. We have fixed some basic back-end problems on my factory, or 3 of my factories basically. And we are ready for the next challenge. I have launched myself onto a rocket which is designed to go towards Gleba. It's the same as all the other rockets really, but we have filled it with a bunch of basic materials so we can have a running start. And actually I thought maybe would have been nice if I actually also made a cargo landing pad. But this is fine. Anyway, this is going to go from here, from Factorio to Gleba, and we're going to start a new challenge. Yeah, we have a bit of a way to go because Factorio is here and we basically take the long way towards Gleba, which is, I guess, a nice stress test for this ship design that we have, because yeah, also I think at Gleba these asteroids can come from all the directions, so maybe this one is going to get destroyed from the back, but I'm not entirely sure. It has been damaged a little bit already, actually. That is interesting. Right, meanwhile, what got destroyed here? Ah, a bot. Alright, there's a bot flying and it got hit by lightning. Sure. Alright, see you on Gleba. Alright, here we go. We get launched off of the platform and we make our descent towards the planet, and then we'll be stuck here for a while. But that is nice, that's fine. Look at this. These graphics are completely different. This is the bio-organic, or just organic planet. We have a bunch of different biomes. We have the green swamps over here, and if I remember correctly, you cannot build anything on this, so we have to build on the land here, and it's basically these large strips of land that we have to build our factories on, and then we have to mine different areas as well. So we can grab some plants here, it gives us some wood, some spoilage, and then we have some of these, what is stromatolite outcroppings, and they provide us with bacteria, copper ore, and stone. Now, if I remember correctly, I haven't played this one a lot with my friend, which is interesting, because basically I have no designs ready to go for this. I kind of have to figure things out. And yeah, we do have some aliens over here. They have eggs that they drop, but everything on this planet spoils. It has a spoilage rate, and in about 15 minutes these eggs will spoil, or actually in this case they will hatch, and we will have some enemies in our base. The copper bacteria, however, they only last for about a minute each, I think, and then when they spoil they turn into the copper ore, which is kind of interesting. You can see that at work here in just 3 seconds. Look at that. Basically we can get a ton of copper ore out of these outcrops. But yeah, we have some things over here. We have an enemy base, we have some plants, and basically this is the agriculture planet, and that means we have to farm things, but everything that we make is going to spoil over time, so we need to make designs that allow us to get rid of spoilage, which is interesting. All right, we have some water over here. That is interesting as well. You can see like the fog. This is such a crazy different planet. And then here we have some iron stromatolite outcrops, which we can also mine. They give us iron bacteria, iron ore, and stone. But what I'm really searching for here is some plants. We have 2 types of specific tree. The jelly stem, here we go. And the jelly stems, they provide us with jelly nuts or seeds, and those are things that we can plant and then eventually farm. And these 2 plants, the jelly nut, and there is another one that we have yet to find, we can turn that into all the basic materials that we have. And also the spoilage you can turn into different things. You can burn it for power. We did in fact unlock something new. We need to find the Yumako tree, and then we unlock the Yumako technology. And agricultural science pack, we need to make 100 bioflux. So yeah, a lot of people in fact struggle with this planet and they have a really hard time with making it work because it is so different. Basically you don't want anything on these belts to back up. Right, that is just ooh, we have small stompers. Yeah, we have aliens on this planet again. The stompers are big boys. They basically charge through everything, but yeah, I don't quite know how the alien attraction here works. It's a little bit different. I think they just go towards your farms. They leave your big factories alone, though they will destroy them on impact, of course, so they might travel through it, but in essence they will go for your farms. Yeah, we have this other five-legged thing here as well, which is nuts. And we have ooh, crazy little creatures, so different from the biters, but I don't have ammo at the moment. All I have... Oh, and they fire these things at me as well. Look at that. And they fly faster than I am. And I wear a lot of legs. That's kind of nuts. Alright, and this thing keeps firing at it. It keeps firing that stuff at us, so that needs to die. And I have no idea how much does this take to be killed. That is a big chunky boy and takes a lot of damage. Holy crap. Yeah. Interesting. Well, we're safe above the water though. Can't reach us. It's trying. And this is basically cheat mode. It's trying to hit us or spit at us from super close, but we're just out of range. Sorry, bro. Not happening. Alright, so did we find a tree here? No, we did not. Where are the trees? I honestly don't even really know what they look like. These are jelly stems, so that is one thing. But we have some of those. We need to find the Yumoko tree. So this is pink. And what is the other thing that we then have to find? I'll search around and then we'll see. And we have found the Yumako trees. They are on the green areas of the map. And basically, if you see something in white, it is one of the trees that we need to harvest. So we have some white trees over here, white trees over there. These are the things that we need. So we're going to mine some of these, right? And then what we're going to have to do, and honestly, like I said, I'm really not familiar anymore with the way things work here, but we can make artificial soil. For that we need to craft nutrients, 500 nutrients, and then we can make artificial Yumako soil. For that we need nutrients, landfill, and Yumako seeds. Because all of this stuff only grows in the swampland. It doesn't grow on the harder surfaces, which is kind of nuts. Right, so we need to find a good place. I think, yeah, we spawned probably around here somewhere, which is actually a really good question. Let's see, let's go to the Gleba rocket. And we'll dump down some transport belts, some on the ground, some splitters, fast inserters and so on. Let's see where these drop. Right, and then around that area we can figure out where to put the factory. And then that's new. Not enough hub storage. Right, because this is full. Yeah, well. Actually, maybe we could also have checked this out a little bit, because we have so much of this stuff now. How much is this? This is so much. We can actually hook these up. And then disable this if the iron ore is over 1000. Right, and then we can dump some of this stuff, I suppose. And this doesn't seem to be working, which is, I don't know, what is this? This should work when it's over 1000, then enable it, I guess? Well, no. This is... sometimes this is kind of weird. Alright, we'll see. We'll let it work. Where did this stuff drop? Oh, it dropped down here. All right, so yeah, that is perfect. We are in between those two farm zones. All right, we'll bring in the resources and then we'll get started on the factory. So these things, actually, when they land on you, they can kill you, which is kind of interesting. Anyway, so what we now can do is we have a new recipe for the agricultural tower. For that we need steel, electronic circuits, spoilage and landfill. And we have the heating tower. For that we need concrete, boilers and heat pipes, which is kind of nuts. But we can also do Yumiko processing, jelly nut processing, nutrients from spoilage. So we can make nutrients with that, but they also spoil, of course. We can make iron bacteria out of a jelly, and that also makes spoilage as well as iron bacteria. So that is a way to get iron ore, or the same with copper bacteria, which is kind of interesting. Right, so let's just start working on this, and like we're going to make Yumiko mash that only is good for 2 minutes 42 seconds, and then it's going to turn into spoilage. Right, and that spoilage, yeah, we can turn into nutrients again, but also what this does, we have a chance to get a Yumiko seed. 2% chance of getting a Yumiko seed, and the other one is a 2% chance of getting a jelly nut seed, which is something we definitely need. Alright, so I'm going to clean this area and we're going to try to get some seeds in this way. Yeah, this is another thing that's interesting. We have these puff, what is it called? This thing is called a boom puff. When we pick it up, it explodes. It's kind of crazy. Alright, we're starting up some basic smelting, and for that, what is actually kind of nice is that we can use spoilage as a fuel to burn it. So yeah. Honestly, it doesn't last super long, but it's not that bad, and you get huge stacks and a ton of spoilage, because all of this, like I said, over time is going to spoil. Now this takes about an hour to spoil, but yeah, it's a lot, right? So anyway, we are starting work on this basic smelting. We are going to need some steel plates as well, and what we are going to want to work towards is making that first agricultural tower. I think that will be good, because that will be the primary source of our resources to, you know, smelt things and stuff. So and then the other thing I think will be a biochamber, but first we would need to make nutrients, which I also haven't made yet, because well, we need more spoilage, but that will come soon enough. Can pick up these again. I had not quite finished sorting them. Yeah, I'm going to work on some basic resources. You know, I'm going to set up a smelting block for steel as well, because the steel is necessary. Right, maybe we just need these top three still making that stuff. We have some fuel, as like wood as fuel, and then we can add some iron plates to the mix. Well, we need to put them here, right? So we'll make some steel and so on, and then we'll work towards getting our first agricultural tower. In the meantime, I'm going to try to get some solar up and running, because that is quite necessary as well. Yeah, some storage as well, of course, some, you know, substations, and then we'll be right back. Well, I set up some basic stone mining, because we are going to need a ton of a landfill, but it is really expensive to send up by rockets, because, well, I checked, the landfill has a rocket capacity of 20, so you need to send 5 rockets up into space to deliver 100 landfill, which is, honestly, it's nuts. But in the meantime, I have also finished making a few nutrients, and with that we have unlocked a new technology, which is the biochamber. Now the biochamber requires iron plates, electronic circuits, nutrients, a pentapod egg and a landfill to make, but this is basically one of the primary buildings on this planet in which we can make nutrients from Yumiko mash, we can make burnt spoilage, and basically that turns into carbon, and pentapod eggs apparently as well, which is interesting, right? And then we have bioflux, but for that we need to craft the biochamber, and artificial soil, and for that we need to craft 500 nutrients, which is not going to be immediate. But yeah, the only place that we can actually farm these plants is basically in this bright area, I think, as well as this bright area. Well, any of those bright areas on the map, essentially, is what it comes down to. But yeah, they are very far away and few between. And then we only have the solid land, this ribbon in between, where we can actually build our factory. And yeah, you can see that could be a little bit tricky, right? So that is going to be interesting for sure. Alright, so we can make the biochamber, but we need the pentapod egg, we need electronic circuits, we need iron plates. Well, we are making those, but we could still get a few more. Of course, we have the stromatolite outcrops and whatnot. And this is just so different from regular Factorio. It's just fresh, you know? I'm really excited for it. Alright, so we have a ton of iron bacteria, and in 1 minute all of that is going to be turned into iron ore. And then we have the stromatolite, or the copper stromatolite as well, somewhere, but I'm not entirely sure in which area I can find that one. So this one, maybe it's random as well, I'm not entirely sure. But I like starting from the beginning, you know, bootstrapping the base from nothing and see how it works out. What is that? That is a pretty sizable attack at the wall, but we manage it pretty easily, I think. So we don't, even if we see the notifications, we don't have to worry about it too much. In the meantime though, I have sent the Gleba rocket back to Novice and we are requesting some things. We have all of those things present as of right now, so we're going to send it back over here. Yeah. Need to find some more copper, I guess, and then we'll see if we can make our first biochamber and our first planting agricultural tower. I have already made 5 of those, but yeah, I need to make that in place. You know, we need to put the farm in place. So I'll be right back. Well, the hunt for the pentapod egg begins, and I think I'm not sure. Yeah, we have an egg raft, so I guess we just need to kill these stompers, which is easier said than done. And then we're going to be able to find our egg. And we have a bunch of them over here, which is, yeah, exactly what we needed, except, yeah, we need to kill these stompers, and that's going to take some time. Now, what is also interesting, by the way, is that these things walk over walls, so we cannot make walls here. Or we can make walls, but it's a waste of time. It's not going to help us in any way, shape or form. So, yeah, that is just interesting, you know. Right, I'm going to run in circles to kill these things and then I'll be right back. Well, Bioflux has finished researching, so that is another new thing that we have. So, let's see, we have Bioflux and we can turn it into nutrients apparently, or nutrients from Bioflux. But what is Bioflux? What do we need? Yumako mash and jelly. And if we combine that, we get Bioflux, a highly nutritious blend of Gleba crops, grants burst of both health regeneration and movement speed when eaten. Interesting. But what else can we do with that, I wonder? I am not sure. Nutrients from, yeah, we can make nutrients from that, but is that the only thing that we can do with it? Honestly, I have no idea. Well, bacteria cultivation apparently. So yeah, we can use Bioflux and copper bacteria to make more bacteria, I suppose. Multiply bacteria by feeding, yeah, okay, sure. And Bioflux processing, bioplastic, makes plastic bars. Rocket fuel from jelly, okay. Biosulfur and biolubricant, interesting. All right, and the artificial soil, of course. Yeah, in the meantime, we're not researching anything, so we can start researching some different things, like lightning collectors, because it's cheap research. We'll research quality module 3, personal battery Mark 3, and the personal roboport Mark 2, as well as Tesla weaponry, because that apparently is quite effective here on this planet. We can get a new Tesla gun, but all of that, of course, yeah, is made on Volgora. Wow, and the Tesla guns are used in the Tesla turrets, and they have to be made in electromagnetic plants. All right, yeah, it's a logistical challenge to be sure. But that's cool. I don't mind it. That's what Factorio is all about, right? Like, how do we fix these problems that we have? And meanwhile, I found another little nest over here, another 2 eggs. I have been making a ton of these biochambers. Well, I have a lot of them lined up, but it's a very, very slow process. And hopefully we can finish it before the eggs hatch. But I think we'll be okay. Yeah. So we'll continue building these. I have a couple of them lined up actually, so we might remove some of these and let's put these machines into place in their stead. And we'll have this one over here. So if we have the biochamber, I have no idea how much space we need. But let us start over here at the bottom, I guess. We'll make a little facility dedicated to, what can we do? We can make more biochambers apparently. Oh, and we have a ton of recipes here. Alright, so we want to be able to make burnt spoilage, to make carbon to use for our smelting stacks, of course, but that is not what we're going to be doing here. Iron bacteria, pentapod eggs, nutrients from bioflux, nutrients, jelly nut processing, I guess, is what we'll do, or the Yumako processing. And I think jelly nuts are from this thing over here. So that is what we're going to start with, right? And then we'll see. Right, so then we have these things. Ooh, all right. Why could I make that here? Is that, do we have some of that territory here? I suppose we do, but we could build it on land, but it's all yellow and it needs to be green, so it cannot actually plant anything here. But I think once we reach over here, it is very rare, this territory, and this is why we need to make that, like, yeah, we can make some here, like automatically farm it, but not a lot. So maybe here is a little bit better. Right, so we need to get rid of all of these jelly stems. And then later I guess we can make landfill, like specialized landfill, where we can actually make this stuff and expand upon it, so we can scale it up. But for now, we're going to clear it out. We're going to plant it, and of course we are going to need electricity. Let's build that from a little distance, so we have all of this space available. And then we are going to hook this up to the power. Well, we have some jelly nut seeds in our possession, and we are going to put them in here, and now you can see the crane moving around, and wherever we have space, it's going to plant them into the ground. And then we have this tiny little jelly stem growing right there. It's wonderful, isn't it? Alright, and then of course it is going to start outputting jelly nuts later on, so we need to be able to grab that out of here. We have some power, so I guess we can plant that here. We'll put a filter on here, I guess, just to make sure. I have no idea if it's actually necessary, but it definitely doesn't hurt. And then let's see if we can... Like, I have no idea what is buildable here and what isn't. It's going to be an interesting experiment. I guess all of this area, not even all of this area up here. Wow. Crazy. This is one hell of a mess. Yeah. Alright, well, I'll try to find a way up there. Well, I made it all the way over here. It is a bit of a windy road, but the only way, or the only reason why we made it over here is because of landfill. So I'm making landfill and connecting all of these little islands of solid land, and that's the only way to get out of there, really. So that is finally something that is insanely important. Anyway, we are going to feed this with those jelly nuts, and we have a small chance to get jelly nut seeds, and we have a chance to get jelly. So what we need to do here is we are going to put out jelly on the top side, and we're going to put a filter for that, right? Yeah. And then we're going to get some long-handed inserters, and those are going to output the seeds, because yeah, that is also something that is incredibly important. So we have the jelly nut seeds. We're going to paste those into place, and then of course we're going to have to bring this all the way back down. Ooh, look at that, we have our first jelly nuts coming down. Alright, so all of this needs to be fed back into that machine, the planter, the agricultural whatever. I am not sure what it is called. But anyway, yeah, I'm going to work on that, and then I'll be right back again. And with that, we have completed an infinite loop of jelly nut. So yeah, the more jelly nuts we plant, of course, the more stuff we will get out of it, and then the more seeds we'll get, and it's going to be an infinitely reinforcing loop, I think. So with that, now of course we have jelly, and we need to start putting that jelly to use for something. So what could we do with jelly? I don't fully remember. Let's see, I think we could make nutrients out of it. But I am not entirely sure. Right, and this stuff also needs nutrients to function, interestingly enough. So that is the next thing, I guess, that we'll start work on. But I don't remember. We can make nutrients from spoilage, and that also happens. Where does that happen? Doesn't specifically say. Could we? Yes, alright. Perfect. So that's the other thing that we need to do here. We need to... Let's see. We'll grab a long-handed inserter. We'll put it over here. Let's do 2. We'll put a filter on it for and checking for spoilage. Right, so then if any of this spoils, we'll be able to grab it off of the that belt. We'll feed it onto another belt, and I guess here we'll turn that into nutrients. So we'll put some medium poles here. I guess we'll use the basic inserters. And then we'll output this stuff, and whatever we output over here, right, we're going to bring that up north. We'll go underneath over here. Ooh, I had an egg in my pocket, I think. Alright, so yeah, this is going to output jellies, so then we need to have an input up top over here. Alright, and nutrients I think can also spoil. So that's going to be interesting. Alright, we have plenty of spoilage though, so let's feed these things with spoilage. Yeah, you can see this is already filtered out as well. Alright, it's going to be spoiled over time as well, so we need another thing. We'll filter out spoilage over here. I guess we'll go underneath like so, and that is going to feed back into here. And with that we have a little infinite loop as well. Right. So all of these Now jellies. Jellies need to be used for something. So what do we use jellies for? Jelly and Yumako mash to make bioflux. Right, that's it. Alright, so we need to do the same process that we've already done. We'll tag jelly here on the map. And then we need to set up the same little process over on the other side of the territory. And we'll do that, of course, with the green area over here. And then I guess we'll put that up here somewhere. And then over here with the stone, maybe we'll turn that into bioflux. Like this area is going to be the bioflux area. Of course, we do want to have some overview of this area, so I'll put down some radars as well, so we can see what is going on from a distance, because that honestly seems quite important, you know. Right, put that one over here. With that, we have a solid overview of this area at least. Yeah, then we'll go to the other side. Alright, so we have an automated setup over here. We can get rid of spoilage. I have no idea if this is going to be adequate for the amount of spoilage that we are going to need to get rid of, but we'll see, right? We'll have a lot of mash coming through. It is going down all the way over here, and this is actually not quite necessary. We'll do this with a regular belt. Going down over here, and then it's going to go towards the left. Now I didn't have enough biochambers to make the sixth one, but we can expand upon this in the near future. And of course, well, we're going to need an output. I have no idea where I want to bring that output yet, actually. And actually, let's bring it out the other way. And then we'll have this output over here. And that is going to start making the bioflux as soon as I properly fix up this situation. What's going on here? What are we missing? Ah, everything in here has been spoiled over time. Alright, sure. So I guess what we also would need is like a thing that takes out the spoilage over here, and then also what we need is more power. That is, yeah, a priority. I guess we are not quite producing enough. I was expanding over here a little bit. But yeah, with that, we have a basic production setup, and like I said, I have no idea where to go from here. So it is going to be quite interesting, this experience, especially with the spoilage. I do like the mechanic. I'm quite interested to see where it's going to go from here. And as soon as well, we need some burner towers. For that, we need concrete boilers and heat pipes, which is kind of interesting. Generates heat from chemical fuels with very high efficiency. Does not adopted fuel. Yeah, it burns spoilage. You can see the accepted fuel down at the bottom. I think we are going to start making those, and maybe for the time being we'll make them on Nauvis, and we'll make them close to Cape Canaveral over here. So let's just go ahead and make a little so one space, two spaces. Let's just make two of these. We'll have the heat tower, and then we'll have the requester chest down here, output chest on that side. We'll have one of these over here, and I guess the orange ones on this side will be enough. And then over here, what do we need? We needed concrete. So let's go ahead and ask for 100 concrete. What else was it? Boilers. We are not making boilers automatically either, I think. I'm pretty sure we don't, but that's not going to be too complicated. And what was the last thing? Heat pipes. All right, so let's ask for 100 heat pipes as well, because we are making those automatically. I just need to find where the heat pipes are at. These are all the intermediates. There are the heat pipes, sure. All right, we'll ask for 50. All right. copy paste that over to this one. And of course we are going to need power, and then we are going to do the same thing. Let's see. Let's make this over here. I will have some requester chests at the bottom with these in the center. Another one of these, and these things are going to be making boilers. And then the question becomes, do we have enough of these things? All right, so we need pipes. I will ask for 100 pipes, and then we needed stone furnaces. Now I'm pretty sure we're not making stone furnaces automatically either, or if we are, they're probably not going to be on the map. All right, so let's also add a tag here for the heating tower. Yeah, are we making? That's a good question. I'm pretty sure that we don't. So what we're going to do here is we're going to make them over on this side. We'll limit these. We'll set the recipe. We'll make sure there is power. And then I guess we'll add a little tag for that stone furnace right on that side. It's super tiny, but we don't need a ton of these. And with that, we will have enough materials, I think, to make our heating towers. Right, pipes will be coming over. I'm pretty sure we have them in the network. We have to. And then over here, we are going to get the boilers from over there. And then we're going to have heating towers. And then we're going to send the Gleba rocket. Say passenger present. We'll send it to Navis so we can actually pick that stuff up. Right, but with that, I think it's time to put an end to this video. And look at that, everything here has spoiled. So yeah, that's something we need to get rid of in the near future. But thank you so much for watching. In the meantime, do leave a like and a comment below if you enjoyed this content and wish to see more. And I will see you guys for whatever video I do next.